Lynn, fantastic.
Morning.
Morning, good morning, good morning. How are we, Jody?
I'm good. How are you guys?
How is beautiful Queensland?
Yeah, it's overcast today. Thank God. It's been really hot lately.
I was speaking to another agent yesterday in Queensland. It was raining, and I'm thinking we've got so much better weather than you guys here in Melbourne.
Yeah, totally.
We do. We've had a great summer, and we had a great summer after.
Been lovely.
It's been amazing.
Oh, loving the background art. That's cute.
Yeah, just a little something the girls did for me.
Welcome everyone, as good old Mr. Tom Panos says, as the crowd starts to warm up.
Steph.
Been long. Want to make sure that got everyone in this morning.
Fantastic. Awesome. I think the great man's in, or he's out.
Hello.
Was in. Mr. Tom Panos.
How you going?
Oh, absolutely fantastic. Yourselves?
I'm very well, very well. Good to see you, Manos.
Yeah, likewise. And thank you so much for joining today, Tom. Super excited about today's session. And obviously it's a session that's really dear to my heart. But before we do get straight into it, I just want to welcome everyone. I mean, we've got a few more minutes to go, and we'll do the formal introductions just after 11:30. But while I've got you on, Tom, I'm going to share my screen. I'd love for you to talk about this one, if you can. Share screen 3. Where's screen 3? I saw this post of yours this morning and I absolutely loved it. I went, this is a classic. This is going to be a great way to start the session. So let me just, technology. This one. Let's go. I mean, team, there's no need for any introductions for Tom. Tom, I saw this and you had me in stitches. This morning. And so let's talk about this. I mean, obviously, we're going to be talking about being disruptive in the disruptive landscape of real estate and so forth. But I think it's just so appropriate to actually get back to some basics and so forth. But where'd you get the inspiration from this, Tom?
So, Manos, let me tell you that firstly, believe it or not, when I was at uni, I really got obsessed with the subject of models, right? I'll just touch on that for 1 second, because if you picture a model is one image that can actually be a whole book. You know what I mean? So I love models. So this morning I woke up, that was actually just drawn on my Remarkable, right? And then what I do is I just send it I send that as an email to my phone, I save it, and then I just put it up on there on Instagram. And I was thinking to myself, like, what is a great agent look like? And obviously the last bit about socks was done in cheek. But the truth of the matter is there's a meaning to it. And the meaning to it is, Manos, like so many real estate agents have this obsession about the way that they look, but really it's what they do that really matters. It's not what they look like, right? And I've just seen, Manos, I've been working in this industry for 40 years now. And I want to let you know, the leaders of 10, 20 years, 30 years ago in the industry, these people, I look back, they accumulated incredible wealth because they just focus on doing good shit, a word that I take from you, and then using the money to put into property. These days, I see the new breed of agents, right? A lot of them don't do good shit and actually spend their time wanting to look good than doing good, right? It's such a big umbrella of real estate agents, right? And that's when I drew that up. But if you actually have a look at the ones underneath the socks, you'll actually say to yourself, man, if you can read the play, if you're a person that is able to adapt, and you don't have to be a prompt IQ engineer or you don't have to be Steve Jobs, but you've got to be able to have some basics, send out a price update, do a quick digital pricing, go onto ChatGPT and do a vendor report. Those that can do those things have got a bit of a competitive advantage. And then a strong work ethic, well, we all know that no one can dispute that. Integrity, we know that most people need to get a higher score in real estate than that. And market knowledge, to me, gives you confidence, and confidence gives you influence. So that's what I did when I drew that up, Manos.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it, and obviously, I did get the tongue in cheek in regards to socks and so forth. Are you looking the part, or actually are you walking your talk? Are you actually doing the work and so forth? But high IQ was a really important one too there, Tom. I remember being at a listing at a conference, and Bradley Brown from Fletcher's. I'm not sure if you'd be aware of Bradley Brown.
I saw him. I did some work for him last week, actually.
Fantastic. So Bradley Brown, I remember when he was sitting, and this is obviously a leadership session today. So team, first of all, welcome everyone to our first of 3 leadership sessions of the Black Salt community. Super excited, obviously, talking about navigating the disruption of real estate at the moment, and navigating how to build a very solid foundation in your business. And it all comes back down to, obviously, your what Tom, you mentioned initially was models and so forth. But I remember going back to this particular conference, and Bradley Brown really articulated it really well. He goes, when he's looking at growing his team, and especially what does he see the characteristics of real estate agents, he said one word: articulate. Agents who are articulate and who can convey their message really, really well, and have got that natural articulation, still being themselves, of course, really do well in real estate. And that high IQ and reading the play, and of course, a tech savvy, strong work ethic, as you mentioned, Tom. Integrity is so important. It's just the way we walk, isn't it? It's the way we behave that's so important. You don't have to think twice. If you have to think twice of what's right and what's wrong, there's a problem there, because your DNA is not in line with, obviously, what you should be doing. We're representing people's most valuable asset. And I was only just talking to an agent the other day who's just recently joined our team, and they're going through an onboarding process, and they just purchased a property. And the way that the agent that sold him the property conducted himself was probably not in the best interests of, it wasn't in the best interest of the vendor, because there was competition that was happening, and he wasn't able to articulate or put a negotiation process in place to extract the best offer with 3 or 4 people that were negotiating for this particular property. It was quite interesting speaking to this particular agent, because we learned so much from people who actually don't do the right thing, or don't know the skill set to do the right thing. And going back to, again, the biggest mistake a vendor can make is putting the right buyer in front of the wrong agent. Maria, you say that all the time. And I remember in our first month of real estate, when you were coaching me, goes, the biggest mistake a vendor can make is putting the right buyer in front of the wrong agent, because they're not going to get a great result. But we've built up to a crowd of over 50. Fantastic. Welcome, everyone. We're just past the 5-minute mark. Super excited to have you all on board, as I mentioned earlier, to have, obviously, Tom And following Tom a little bit later in today's session, Jonathan Bell from Wingman and Housemark to talk about our topic today, which is obviously navigating the disruption in real estate. So I'm going to hand it straight over to Tom. Can we have a big all virtual round of applause, and thank you to Tom for appearing today. Tom, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Perfect. And hand you over the reins.
Perfect.
And away we go.
Thank you so much. And thank you and welcome everybody. And I'm going to be showing a few slides, and I'm going to tell you that this is a subject that, well, put it this way, I've been doing more of this than actually listing and selling real estate in my life, if you think about it. So firstly, I want to say that this is titled CEO, Chief Energy Officer, right? That's what it's titled at. And the reason I say it is, as a leader, I want to let you know that you're going to notice something weird. You're going to see in publicly listed companies a CEO that might be working in pharmaceuticals goes off and then gets a job working as a CEO in banking. You might see a banking CEO move on and work in the media. So what you'll notice is that you got all these CEOs that are not necessarily topic authorities. They are not sort of just going in and working in the one industry. And that's fascinating, because you think to yourself, this person, the most powerful person in the organization, can one day be the CEO of Woolworths and then the next day be the CEO of Pfizer, right? And that's weird. Like, you don't know nothing about medicine, because the truth is, the role of a chief executive officer is to go in and to actually change the culture, the energy, the view, the feeling the place has got. It does not have to do with having some intellectual knowledge. A lot of people might not know here, Manos and Maria, that I was one of only 2 people in News Corp that used to present to Rupert Murdoch. So if you could just picture, you had the CEO and then you'd have Tom. So Rupert Murdoch would come to Australia and he would visit his mother in Melbourne, and I would fly to Melbourne and I would go to the South Bank Herald and Weekly Times building. I would sleep there the night before. I wouldn't fly there because they'd say, mate, if you miss the flight, you know, he's going to get upset. So I'd go the night before and I would sit there and I would present to Rupert Murdoch budgets, targets for next year, threats that we've got, strategies that we're doing, competitor analysis, and we would have just chit chats. And I learned a lot in those times from Rupert Murdoch by the questions he would ask me, because you learn a lot when people ask questions, because you think to yourself, for them to be asking that question, the answer to that must be a very important thing. So I'd sit there and I remember he'd say, Tom, can you identify what are 3 things that might get in the way of us achieving those targets, right? And I think to myself, why is he asking that? Obviously, he's asking it because if you're aware that there are going to be things that can get in the way, you actually create strategies before they actually happen, right? The other thing that I would learn from Rupert is the concept of finding people than doing the job, right? So that's where I kept preaching now to agents that run businesses. When you're a principal, you don't just list real estate, you list people, right? And if you really think about it, if you're the owner of a business and you, let's say, you know, in David, I can see David on the screen there in Marimbula Pambula. The average commission out there is, say, 10 grand, maybe 12. So if David chases a listing over a period of time, he's going to get them to like him, he's going to sign them up, he's going to sell it, he's going to get 12 grand. On the other hand, if you list a really good agent, they're going to write $300,000 a year. They might stay with you for 4 years. That's $1.2 million. All the realestate.com banners, signs, signboards, marketing. So you get the market share boost of that. So then you begin to think to yourself, okay, why aren't I spending time prospecting people as much as I'm prospecting stock? And then you begin to realize that one of the reasons is that many of the real estate agents are actually, and we're going to talk about it, Manos, and that is making the decision on what is my model. And we're going to talk about this after. I've got a client that shows me their MYOB and another client that shows me their Xero. The same thing, MYOB, Xero, accounting software. So one Manos writes 5 million and his profit is 3. And one writes 20 million and his profit is 2. And I sit back and I think to myself, that's a worry, because you're telling me that if you're only doing 2 million out of a $20 million business, what the hell would happen if you had 4 shit months? You got a problem, right? You've got a serious, because that risk factor is massive, right? So for the record, the only difference between the two businesses is there's a director's EBU in one business and there's no director's EBU in another business. So the person that writes 5 million, the business that was writing $5 million in Wetherill Park in Sydney, the director there, he's got his EBU that writes over 3 million himself. So he's making a lot of money there, and then he clips a ticket on a few people. So one of the decisions you've got to make early on in your career is, what is your model going to be? And I can tell you, there are a lot of people that are suited to just being a director's EBU, 100%. Because the reason I say it is, if you don't enjoy listing people, if you don't enjoy growing people, if you don't enjoy mentoring people, if you're the kind of person that was like that agent that I was sitting at an awards night a few years ago, and they said, and the number one agent for the year in the group is, and it's a guy at my table. He gets up, fucking, you know what it's like. He's taking a selfie, he's proud, people are patting him on his back, and he goes up to get the award. And as he's getting the award, his principal, who's sitting next to me, so I'm sitting here, his principal is there, and this guy was sitting right next to me. His principal says to me, Tom, I'm letting you know, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't be up there today. And I said, oh. And he goes, I've handballed him so many things, right? If I did it, I'd be up there. And I just looked at him and I said, man, you should be pumped. He started as a young kid. You've grown him, but the way you're talking is, you're saying is, you should be up there. And I want to let you know, since then, this guy has gone off and sold his business and is doing an EBU. He's doing the right thing, because this guy wanted to be the man, the deal maker, right? So I suppose that is a really important question to answer very early. What do I want to be doing? Do I want to have an EBU and just focus on that? Do I want to be a non-selling principal and grow, mentor, coach people? And Manos, you would see that yourself, even, yeah.
All the time, Tom. My favorite saying is, volume is vanity and profit is sanity. Understanding if you have employee disease, that wasn't my line, but I got it from a particular director who was running a large business, and he goes, I worked out I've got employee disease. I said, what do you mean by that? He goes, I just don't want to manage people. I just don't want to manage sales agents and so forth. And so again, self-awareness is so important. You know, I mean, growing your business in a disruptive landscape is more about you rather than the actual landscape that's happening out there, and understanding your goals. And I'm, you know, obviously post your session, Tom, I've got a couple of slides which is really focusing back on what you've just mentioned as well. Yeah, so volume is vanity, profit is sanity, understanding your why. And obviously, if you have employee disease, and the 3 profit centers, Tom, there's 3 profit centers in a business. There's the director's EBU, and it's very different to an agent's EBU. Director's EBU is very different. And I know I've coined that phrase, but it is really important for people to understand. A director's EBU, what I'm seeing, Tom, from the best of the best, is not a training ground to bring other agents into your group. It should not be. It should be people that come into your director's EBU. This is my belief.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing, the successful are people who are going to stay with you 3, 5, 10 years. And we've got many directors EBUs who have built a team around them that are all part of the family, not as in directly connected by DNA, but I'm just saying they've grown with the leader, and they're creating a one model team. And then, of course, you have the individual sales agents, and every business can have a director's EBU, individual sales agents, and a profit center for every individual sales agent, and of course, a property management. And then there is a 4th arm, which is not often talked about, but the auxiliary services and connections and affiliate programs you have with other suppliers, which pay for lots of social gatherings at the end of the year. But yeah, over to you, Tom, because you've seen it more so than probably what I have.
Okay, so I'm going to open up a slide deck now here, and I'm going to let you know all the role of a CEO, and this is whether you're a CEO of an EBU or a CEO of a business in an EBU, is to be the Chief Energy Officer. Haven't you worked out what I said before? When you get a CEO that goes from Woolies to Pfizer or from Pfizer to Virgin Airlines, they're not going with intellectual knowledge. They're going in there to change the mood of the place. So key rule, I need you to know every time you walk into your office, your team is auditioning you. They're sussing you out. They're having a look, and they'll say, oh shit, he's in a fucking bad mood today, right? They're sussing you out. So I need you to know they are a reflection of you. You are the Chief Energy Officer. You need to walk in and make sure you're an illuminator in your business, that you're not an energy drainer in the business. This guy here taught me one golden rule, and that was, don't give a stuff how high their IQ is. Give a stuff how high their EQ is. Don't give a stuff how talented they are. Give a stuff on what their character is, because it is possible to get a hard worker to become skilled. It is impossible to get a skilled worker to become hardworking, right? If they're skilled and they're lazy, you got a problem, right? So you always said hire for character, and the rest of the stuff can get sorted. And you know the rest of the stuff through your conferences, the gym, podcasts, ARIT, YouTube clips, the whole work, the content's out there. The next thing is Lachlan Murdoch was his son, and Lachlan and I worked on the same level. So Lachlan's the guy that's taking over all the stuff from Rupert. Lachlan said to me one day when he was overhearing me, as I was young, you got to understand, I was a real estate agent that was a deal maker. I was never a person that understood, recruiting, growing, keeping people accountable. So I was just winging it in the first 2-3 years at News Corp. Yet I had a team. I had 800 people in my department. And then above it, they had a manager, and then they would come to me. So out of the blue, I went from more or less dealing with vendors and buyers to having all these people. And Lachlan could see that I was drowning. And one day he said to me, Tom, you need to know not everyone thinks the way you think. And I said, yeah, I know that. And he goes, yeah, but when I'm listening to you speaking, you sound like a person that, and then he said, listen, let me explain. And he used this metaphor of a beach ball, and it really hit home. He said, you've got a beach ball, right? You could be looking at the beach ball, but the way you're holding the beach ball, you're looking at the red panel, right? So you actually think this ball is red. That person opposite you is looking at exactly the same thing, but they're looking at the yellow panel. So you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, mate, are you fucking stupid? It's red, right? And you are right. It is red on what you're seeing, but you need to know the way that you look at things is not the way the world is. They're seeing the world the way they are. You need to be empathetic. And that was a big learning point for me, Manos, because I began to realize that every time I have a one-on-one, every time I'm dealing with one of the team members, that I should actually be a little bit more open-minded and try and look at the way they're seeing things. The next slide I want to share with you is that I truly believe the third revolution is now here in real estate. I'll tell you. So I got into real estate in 87. In 1987, we were about 7 years in to the first revolution. That revolution was that in the 70s, there were no big brands. It was all independent offices. It was Tom Panos Proprietary Limited. It was David Smith. It was Frankston Real Estate. Then all of a sudden, in the 80s, fucking brands, franchises, yellow, lots of them are yellows for some reason, right? Lang & Simmons, Rain and Horn, Ray White, they were just lining up. Franchise managers, they all put franchise managers in, door knocking offices. And that was the first revolution. Real estate was changing into a brand game. The second revolution, Manos, was realestate.com. That was the next thing that disrupted everything. Fuck, what's this? Shit. They made the buyers and sellers have equal knowledge as a real estate agent. They made the whole process, they disrupted not only print media, they actually disrupted the model, because essentially what they did is they basically said, we can now tell you exactly what everyone is doing. We'll tell you how many homes they sold. We'll tell you what their average price is. When you're selecting an agent, we're going to be able to tell you who's first, who's second, who's third. We're also going to have all the stuff on data. And now they've even taken it to the next level, owning PropTrack. So realestate.com, domain, and the big classified portals changed it. And now we are on the third revolution. We have entered it. And it is obviously ChatGPT AI, because right now, I want people to know there are real estate agents around the planet who walk into a listing presentation that have put in the vendors they're about to visit through AI, their social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Within 30 seconds, they're given a top-line report that says, this is what you need to say to them at the listing presentation to get the listing. This is the kind of person they are. These are their values, because what it's done is it's looked at a decade of their social media and it's analyzed exactly what their values are. So if you picture what we used to do, we used to walk into someone's home and say, what are the top 3 things you're looking for in an agent? Have you ever sold a property before? How did it go? Because what we were doing is we were collecting the data there on the spot. What this has done is it's taken it to a steroids level, right? So this is a major revolution. The second part, look, I got to tell you, I was talking with one of my clients, Diego, at Harcourts in New Zealand last week, and he was writing 4 million, he's now writing 3 million. And he said to me, Tom, every vendor's vendor reports, I get the CRM system, I get the realestate.com, there they use TradeMe. He goes, they all quickly go through ChatGPT. I get a quick one-page high-level summary. It's basically my vendor report. And he goes, ever since I've been using it, my vendors seem to digest the bad news in a much better way. You know, the third way, like I've got to tell you myself, I was trying to work out. So Manos, I have never been busier in my whole life. So I've been on over 50 flights and I've done 50 conferences since Jan 1, face-to-face, not Zooms, right? And I said to Susan, this is out of control. And she goes, Tom, what do you want me to do? You're in Byron Bay. You said to me that you're fully recharged. I just loaded in your diary. I said, but where did all this have not met work come? Have not met means that they're not in my tribe. There's there. And I go, are they coming through social ads? She goes, I'm not running ads. And I said, why are there all these people? Because we as trainers, we all have communities, right? You know, Fegan's got his community, Woodward's got his community, Sheagall's got his community, you got your community, you know, but I probably have my community and I've got lots of others' community because of my social and that. And she goes, Tom, we got to start asking. Guess where they've been coming from, Manos? ChatGPT. So what I did is I went on myself and I actually started testing it. And I want to show you something.
And Tom, when you mentioned this to me the other time we connected, I did the same thing. And whilst we, you know, I'm sure all of us have Googled ourselves, but do yourself the exercise and go on to ChatGPT. It's just incredible the information they find out about you.
Manos, every search, like you go in there and do a search, right? Best real estate, in everything I come up and I'm thinking to myself, but I've done nothing, right, to do it, right? Everything, coaching, influencer. I'll give you an example. John McGrath went in to ChatGPT the other day and put down top motivational speakers in the world for a conference. You wouldn't believe it. I was in the fucking list. John goes to me, mate, how is it possible? It's very simple. What ChatGPT AI does is it goes in and it looks at everything you've ever done on a digital asset, every video, every Sunday night rant, every market wrap, every Google thing, everything. So this is a big issue, and I'll tell you why. Because if it's happening to me in my job, how can it not be happening in a few months' time? I need an agent in Frankston. Who is the best agent to list with? Well, let's face it. People will always pick the fastest and easiest way to do things. And it's going to happen. They're going to turn around and say, want to sell my house in Double Bay. Who's the best agent? So that says to me, you better start doubling, tripling down on content creation, because all ChatGPT is this SEO. It's just picking up all SEO. So to me, that is a major disruptor. And I'm confident the portals, REA, domain, all these things, they would be mindful of what is happening there. They would be mindful. Let me keep going. A couple of other things that I want to talk about. Emerging trends that I'm seeing. Emerging trend is the increase of split increases, right? No question about it. When I was in real estate in 1988, I had a boss, Manos. I was on 30% debit credit. Every Friday morning, he would bring bacon and egg McMuffin burgers in there. He would be paying for our training tickets, but we were on 30%. That was the model. The office was there. I was one of 10 salespeople. Tommy, here's your bacon and egg McMuffin. you're on 30% debit credit, and that was life. And then over the years, what I've seen happen, they went to 40%, went to 50%, went to 60%, went to 70%, 80%, 90%. So we have seen the splits go up incredibly. And the reason the splits have gone up incredibly is the power of an agent has gone up and the power of an office has gone down. That's what it is. So if you think about it, like the extreme scenario was the Genman days. Genman would have an office. No one would know the salespeople. There was only one phone number. It was the office number. That's the way it worked. The office had the relationship with the client. You were simply an employee. Not in 2025. They list with Richard. Richard owns the relationship. And we've seen this, like we now have what is called the hairdresser effect in real estate. I mean, you saw it even with John McGrath's business. When people left, they took the clients with them. Collier, you know, LaHood, all of that. So when a hairdresser goes, you see someone likes a hairdresser, a woman loves a hairdresser, the hairdresser goes from one salon to the other, they leave with the hairdresser, right? So what we've seen is the salesperson has gone up, and that is a major, major thing in real estate. And that's why we know recruitment is the biggest issue. The second thing,
if I can add to that too,
yes,
Tom, if I could, because I think it's really important. I was asked about 7-8 years ago to do an article on disruption in real estate from a vendor's point of view. It's like, is the agent going to be in trouble in the future? Will the agent still exist in the real estate transaction? And I remember specifically, and this is obviously before our Your Brand, Your Business model and all those sorts of direct to agent models, which is obviously that's emerged in the industry now. And I said, I don't see the disruption in real estate coming from the portals going direct to the agent or technology going direct to the vendor. I see the disruption the way the business owners and principals will be engaging with their agents. Now, there's lots of talk about splits and so forth, and obviously everyone knows our model, is aware of our model and so forth, but the change when it comes to shift is the value proposition. See, an agent will stay in an office for 35% or whatever percentage it is if they see the difference between what they are getting and what they can get elsewhere. The value proposition is better. And that's from support, from lead generation, from coaching, from mentoring, from lifestyle, the whole lot. I'm a big believer there's an agent for every agency and an agency for every agent. And as business owners, we've got to identify the needs of the individual agent and what they want and what they aspire to do, and provide that environment that's going to help them thrive and achieve their goals. Because there's lots of agents, guys, that go out and ask for the highest splits in offices and so forth, but the office obviously doesn't have the margin to supply additional services. So what's the point of having a 70-80% split, but you're getting no service and you're doing less volume? I'd rather be in an office that allows me to get to $500,000, be on a example 50-50 split, than being on an office that provides an 80-20 split and I'm only generating $200,000. Really identify that support, and obviously assistance and reception and all the your working environment. So it's not just, as business owners, I'm really big on the directors never to focus just on the split. Focus on the value you're providing to your agents. And one of the big things I say, Tom, look at your agents as your customers. Soon as you focus and change your mindset from employee or an agent helping you build your business, focus them as your customer. And when you focus on them being your customer, magic happens. Because, we want to provide great service, a great environment and so forth. So over to you, Tom.
So on that point, Manos, it's a good point, because what we're saying is, and I know that what you're saying is correct, because we did do a sample of about 1,000 gym members and asked them, what they're looking for in an employer. And splits wasn't in the top three, right? I'll cover what the top three, well, I'll just say the first one was they wanted, believe it or not, a business that had attraction and brand. They highly value that, right? They highly value it, right? The second one is they wanted a place that they weren't depressed on a Sunday night to go to. So they wanted a place that had a good feeling to it, which I sort of get it. We call that culture, the personality of the business. They wanted a good personality business. And the third thing that they wanted is a boss. They wanted to work for a place that would actually grow them. They wanted, if they were a 6 out of 10, they wanted to be a 9 out of 10. Having said that, splits came in at number 4, right? So let's talk about that split for a quick second. Manos, you said before, if you're going to be on 30%, right, you're going to have to make sure that you're giving them amazing value, because from 30% to say 70%, right, you've got to make sure that you're giving them so much more value that it exceeds the 40%. But there's not, so I think it can be challenging to be paying someone 30%. But on the other hand is, mate, don't think to yourself, like if you're paying someone 60 and they can go get somewhere else 70, doesn't mean they're going to leave, because if you can actually show them that there's value for that 10%, right? But let me go back to some of the other things that are causing disruption. So split increases are an emerging trend. The role of a community social media manager, that's becoming more and more important. Fee pressure due to commodity dungeons portals. Unfortunately, realestate.com, Domain, and these portals have created big pressure on fees. And I'll tell you why. Because there's a group of people that turn around and say to themselves, hang on a second. All these people do these days is put properties on realestate.com. They go outside a house at an open home with a clipboard or their iPad, take names and numbers down, and I'm going to pay them $20,000, right? That's caused a bit of pressure on fees. And if you actually look at the data on commissions that we charge the marketplace, they have gone down over the years. They haven't gone up. The only thing is it's gone up in dollars because prices have gone up, right? But as a percentage, it hasn't gone up, it's gone down.
Tom, as you know, I'm really big on the numbers, and I totally understand about the percentage coming down, but the average fee has really increased. And you know, in the last 5 years, actual dollar figure of fees has, it just has. And the cost of doing business, you know, and it is controversial when people, it actually has come down. It's actually come down, the cost of business, the ability to use the economies of scale and stuff like that. So whilst I agree the percentage has come down and there's pressure, I'm actually seeing agents protect their fees, more so in Queensland. Congratulations to all the Queenslanders, right? Can I just say the Queenslanders and across Australia are number 1 in protecting their fees. So a big tick. Victoria, New South Wales, mate, we need to be, so it's really challenged.
So Manos, if you think about it, right? If you look back last 8 years, I would say the average fee per dollar has gone up because prices have doubled in the last 7, 8 years. So if you think about it, if you're on a flat fee, that means you're getting double the fee. That's great, right? And you are right. There are certain marketplaces that have been a lot better. Melbourne actually think is even far more challenging than the city marketplace. Like when I look at the fees in Melbourne, it is you know, and that's weird because the price gap between Sydney and Melbourne's gotten bigger, right? So you would have thought to yourself, right, like, why would the percentage go down? But it has. Let me keep going. Other things I've noticed, is the tension between an agent and principal is higher than ever. And the reason why is that as real estate agents start running businesses within businesses, running effective business units, they're sort of saying, mate, fucking, I use your office because you got the subscriptions. I use your office because you got a trust account. I use your office, but realistically, mate, I do my own thing. Don't tell me what I'm going to do. So when a boss goes down to them and says, oh, mate, I don't like you putting your photo on our ads, that's against that, right? Tension starts to happen. Oh, I don't like the fact that you're using that. We use this video team. Oh, I don't like the fact that you're doing this. You know what? So there's tension, and I can tell you the tension is highest with top agents, right? Because the way top agents are thinking to themselves is they're thinking, hang on a second, you're paying me 60, you're paying me 60%. I'm giving you 40%. I'm giving you $800,000 a year. And you want to actually come and tell me what I'm going to do? That's what causes it. They're sort of arguing back and saying, mate, I want more value from you, and you're on my back about, your brand. So there is tension there. There is tension, no question about it. Other things that I'm noticing is brand erosion. The brand erosions, and the reason the brand erosion is that, I knew it was happening. I remember Rupert Murdoch actually said it. He goes, watch as print goes, brand will go. He goes, we saw it happen in the States. And then I started seeing it happening in recruitment. There used to be Morgan and Banks, Julia Ross. They used to have the big ads in The Age, in the Saturday papers, and then all of a sudden the model got disrupted. Recruiters started working from home. The brands went down. There was no triple pages. We clearly know what's happened in print around the country. So all of a sudden, brand has been eroded, which has basically meant that real estate agents themselves now have to be their own chief marketing officer. And the truth is, that's why we're seeing social media is in fact the vehicle that these people have now to have a brand, right? So,
well, the reality is everyone's got access to a media company at a fraction of the cost of what it used to cost 20 years ago. So everyone can become their own media company with a few $100s a month, as long as there's consistency. That's where a lot of people, you know what the biggest challenge is, I feel, for a lot of agents is their consistency and their patience, Tom. That they're not patient, they're not allowing time to do its thing. They're expecting to be a superstar in 30 days as opposed to 30 months. So, yeah. and that's a DNA aspect of, impatience is not good. You've got to be patient. And I think Gary Vee said that to you. Patience is it's really undervalued.
So, Manos, when I was doing my master's, my major project, they call a thesis, was on, I was even at uni, I had this obsession to work out why are there a group of people that are super successful and why is most of the people not super successful? I was always looking for some sort of, there's got to be a recipe, right? There's got to be a formula. And I was looking back at some of the work that I had done, and I'm still convinced, I did this decades ago, I think the real difference, and it's got to do with what you're just talking about, patience, is there are 3 types of people that we have in life. In fact, I'm going to draw it up. I'll draw it up. Actually, let me just draw it up here very quickly. Actually, listen, I'm not going to draw it up because I'm conscious of time, and I know you got Jono coming on, but I just want to let you know there are 3 types.
Jono's not coming on till about 10 to 1, okay. So he's running a little bit late, but obviously conscious of your time, Tom.
Let me just bring this up. I want to just show you. This is a very important thing I'm going to show people. And okay, we come here, press this here.
While you're doing that, Tom, can I add something? Because while you guys are talking, I thought, Manos, we're just talking about really when people know what it is that they want, it falls into place, doesn't it? because not everyone is able to actually be a director and open up their own office. Not everyone wants that. Not everyone wants to be, you know, launch their own brand, but there is agents out there that would love to work under a successful director with their own brand, as long as they get looked after. So it's not one size fits all, but I think the main thing is, I know patience is a good thing, but also just really work with your people to find out exactly what their character is and what it is that they want, where they're suited best.
Well said, 100%. So you should be able to see this diagram. So I want to let you know, there are 3 types of people. You've got memory-based people, right? And memory-based people essentially are probably memory, present, future. They predominantly live in the past. They're the kind of people that say, back then, oh, if that hadn't happened, if we didn't have that setback, if my wife hadn't left me, etc. Right? These are people that live in the past. The second group are the people that live in the present. So they're basically mainly present focused, a little bit of future, and a little bit of memory. These are the people that in society today, we think they're the cool ones. They're the types, like they're the ones that are saying, you only live once, life's not a dress rehearsal. Do your thing. Today might be the day that you die, right? And it sounds really, really attractive. But if you actually live your life like that, you'll always just do what you feel like doing. You feel like eating shit food, you eat it. You feel like not prospecting, you don't prospect. You feel like sleeping in, you just say, just do your thing. Like at Christmas, I've got 2 daughters. I've got a daughter that is present focused, Maddie. We're at the beach hotel. You know Maddie. Well, sorry, what are you talking about? You know Maddie. So Maddie, we're there at the beach hotel. Daddy, get me a cocktail. Get one more cocktail. You only live once. Sun's out. Life's not a dress rehearsal, right? That's how she is, right? She's in the present. My other daughter, Christina, she's different. Let me show you. She is, oops. Oh, sorry, man, it's disappeared. Where the hell is it?
I was going to say, Tom, it's because she's young. Let her do her thing. I'm sure.
Listen, what I was going to say.
I love Costa. She reminds me of Costa.
Yeah, that's it.
Bare feet and hugging trees. Love it.
That's the way that she is. Oh,
yeah.
She's the kind of person. Oh, look at that. Look at that butterfly. And just sits there and stares at it for 1 hour, right? Whereas my other daughter, Christina, the same night at the beach hotel, you know what she's saying? Daddy, it's 10:30. If we go now, we can go to sleep, wake up at 5:30 and see the sunrise and then jump in the ocean at Waddigos, right? So I want to let you know that if you look at those 3 types of people, memory focused, present focused, and future focused, you begin to realize that you don't want to be memory focused. A memory focused person is always living in the past. A present focused person can be immersed there, but I find that often they're not doing things for a better future for themselves, for their clients. And I'm hoping, Maria, that it is a young thing, right? Yeah. But it doesn't explain why Christina's like that. That's another side of it. But put that aside. But the reason I share this with you is if you are a future-focused person, you're probably having a good run in February because in November, December, you were working. If you're a future-focused person, you're probably recruiting because you were probably having conversations with people on an ongoing basis. You had a bunch of people on an ongoing basis that you're talking to, and as they walk in to their office and have a fight one day, they walk out, they ring you because they were having a conversation with you. So I think that one of the things I've genuinely learned is that people that are future focused do so much better in real estate, both as a leader and as an agent. But I also, whilst we're talking about this subject, Manos, about leadership, it would be remiss of me just to actually not spend a little bit of time on talking about what I think a great excellence culture looks like. Can you see that slide? Can you see this slide, Manos?
No, we can't see that.
Okay, sorry about that. Should be able to see
Yeah.
it now.
Yep,
Yeah,
now
got it.
it's coming on.
So what does a culture of excellence look like? When I look at some of my clients that have got excellent cultures in their businesses, number one, they seem to all have at least once a month an office blitz where they just say once a month as a business, whether it's half a day or all day, we as a group collectively will go on a rampage of calls. We will do that together as a team. I see them doing that. I see them having daily directions meeting, whether it's as an office or their EBU. They're spending 5 minutes every morning, and they're doing exactly what Rockpool does. They're doing exactly what Rockpool does at 5 o'clock before they start serving dinner. They sit around in a circle with the chef, the boss, the staff, and they say, this is how the next 8 hours are going to go. I see them having very great weekly meetings that is actually talking about the right stuff. They're talking about competitor analysis. They're talking about what new listings have come on there. They're talking about how do we get these properties to go from stuck to unstuck. I see these businesses having in-the-moment leadership. And in-the-moment leadership is the best leadership there is. In-the-moment leadership is when someone does something, they nip it in the bud straight away because it's sending a strong message. You see, if you delay in your leadership, your silence is consent. Your silence is saying, it's okay, I'm turning a blind eye, right? And what actually happens is it's no different to when you go to work and your dog rips up the washing off the washing line at lunchtime. Then you come home at 6 o'clock and you scream at the dog. You scream at it. You looked at it, he's ripped up all your shirts. And the dog's thinking, what have I done? What's wrong with this guy? That's what happens when you're silent, when a team member is not doing. Example, forget the dog for a moment. What about one of your staff? Let's talk about your front office person or your PA. Walks in late one day. You say nothing. Walks in late another day. You say nothing. On the third day, they walk in late again and you're tolerating it. You've got pissed off and you say to yourself, fuck it. She does it again tomorrow, I'm going to blast her. Guess what? She does it. You go over, Sarah, have you got a moment? Sarah, I noticed, you just got in about 5 minutes ago and she thinks, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? Because she's thinking it was okay on Monday, it was okay on Tuesday, it was okay on Wednesday, but today he's got the shits. That would not have happened if you nipped it in the bud on Monday where you said, hey, Sarah, everything good? I just noticed that you're a tad late. She gets it straight away. So I need people to know in the moment leadership, whether you're catching people doing things wrong or right for that reason. Because if you catch people doing things right, you're basically saying to them and the whole office, this is what we want. This is what I value. This is what we celebrate, right? So I just find that great leaders don't worry about being popular. They worry about being right, doing the right thing, right? So
It's so important. And one of the big things that I've learned over the time, a lot of leaders want to create their own mission, their value statements, and their values and so forth, and they struggle how to convey that to the team, and even ourselves. And we've gone through a number of iterations of our value statement and our mission and our goals and so forth. And it came crunch time to us a couple of years ago. There was a situation in our business. I said, guys, we're not living up to the values. We're not living up to what we set out to do. And I was frustrated because no one was really embracing the values because it was too complex. It was just too airy-fairy and stuff like that. So I encourage every leader, no matter what size your business is, create a mantra as opposed to a mission and vision statement that no one's going to remember, or you have to have it on your phone to remember. And so our mantra became, we do great work with great people, right? And that's our mantra. So when we hire people, we talk about that. Talk to me about some great work that you do. What are the great people that you work with? What does great work and great people mean to you? When you discipline, and when you have to have those critical conversations with team members, do you feel that really lives up to our mantra of great work with great people? Coming in late all the time, all those sorts of things. So really, as a leader, embrace it. Use ours. I'm happy for you to, right? But just embrace something that's going to be easy for you to convey to your team for recognition and for living up to a standard and working to a standard.
yeah, and Manos, it's really, only the other day, I was in an office, and listen, I did the work. I don't love it. It was in the diary. I did it, but they're shifty people, right? And to cut a long story short, I'm at their office, and I can see around their office, they've got all the slogans. Integrity, our clients come first. And I can tell you, an affirmation is not a culture. Culture is an action, right? Integrity is not having, we are an integrity business. Integrity is sitting in the living room saying to the owner, I think we can get you an extra 20 grand. I won't take that offer. I would reject it if I were you. That's integrity. Integrity is when your agent does something shifty and you don't turn a blind eye. So you're 100% right. These affirmations that you see, right, it's all about what you do, not what you intend to be doing. It's what you're doing. It's an action thing, right? And I have to also tell you, every leader that I know, they're a decisive person. They make decisions, right? You're having a look, right? And now listen, I'm a 70% Trump fan. I'm not a 100% Trump fan, right? There are bits there I think to myself, fuck, it's there. And that's another thing. In life these days, it's like you've got to be all or nothing, right? You don't have to be all or nothing. You can actually say, mate, I like that person that much. Doesn't mean that I become, a clone. But you look at Donald Trump, what he's done is he's gone in and he makes decisions, right? Some of those decisions are shit. Some of those decisions are great. But the bottom line is nothing happens without a choice, right? And I was looking at the story of Greyhound Couches, the Greyhound, the coach company, right? This business, Manos and Maria, was losing massive money. They hired a CEO, and what the CEO went in there straight away and he said, show us all the different road trips that we do as Greyhound. He looked at it. Great. How much profit do we make out of each one? He looked at it. Great. Why are we keeping the 60% that don't make us money. And the person underneath him said, oh, because we've just had them here for years, right? And he's learned the principle, which is called zero-based thinking. And zero-based thinking says, if this wasn't being done, would I start this now? Would I actually start these different routes that Greyhound was doing? So what he just did is he said, fuck it. In one day, he just canned them all. Get rid of them. That's it. And all of a sudden, they turned around and said, what a messiah. He turned the business around. All he did was one thing. He got rid of more than half of the unprofitable things. He made the decision. And then they were turning around. They said, why didn't anyone do it before? And they just said, oh, because that's the way it was done around here. And there are so many real estate businesses, Manos and Maria, where an owner is doing things where I reckon a great question to ask yourself in your business today is, if this wasn't already happening in this, no, here's a better question. If I bought this business today, what would I keep? What would I change? And the minute you realize you've got the power to make that decision, you can do that in your own business right now. Right now in your business, you have the ability to actually be decisive like that CEO of Greyhound Coaches. And I know people that are sitting on this webinar will have one person, maybe, in their business that absolutely fucking bugs them, right? They despise them, they tolerate them, they're a pain, but they just put up with them. I think there are people sitting here that are looking at, I don't know, they're looking at their window display and they're looking at, and it gives them the shits. I don't know, there might be people looking at their mobile phone that's got all cracks on it and that gives them the shits. Go fucking change it, make a decision on it, right? Just make a decision. You've got the ability to make a decision, right? And that's what great leaders do. Valandis, the chairman of the NRL, Peter Valandis, he's doing it. Trump's doing it. And everyone has got the opportunity to go off and make decisions that are going to be helpful, not harmful to your business. Over to you, Manos.
100%, Tom. Absolutely phenomenal. So let's put it to the team. Can we give a big round of applause?
Yeah, awesome.
Guys? Can we just a big virtual round of applause, and then we'll just do a little bit of Q&A. Have you got time for a quick Q&A?
Yep, absolutely.
Fantastic. So all those insights were absolutely invaluable. So one of the comments you made in regards to obviously AI, if I can ask one question, is content creation. A lot of people are really struggling with content creation. What have you seen that a lot of agents are doing in regards to content creation?
Okay, so Manos, I think I'm just going to read out a heap of things that agents can be doing in content creation that will actually help them in SEO, right? So let me run through that very quickly. Number one, talk about local community hotspots in their marketplace. Talk about events that are going on in their marketplace. Talk about highlights in their areas. Talk about what their favorite thing in the area that they service. New businesses, new places. Best place for, hey, Tom Panos here from Agents Agency, and I want to let you know the best place for an omelette every morning is at Galleria Cafe. This is where I'm at this morning. Top things to do. Then other things that you can be doing on content creation. Green screen posts where you sit there, behind you, you've got a photo of a house. You've got a photo of a property you've just sold and you talk about a story. You can also be talking a heap about doing weekly market summaries, monthly market summaries. You could easily just, listen, one thing you could do straight away, go to your local council website, press out newsletter, print off their newsletter and say, hi, Tom Panos here from Real Estate in Frankston. Let me tell you what happened in our market over the last 30 days. We had this thing happen here. We had a fate. The local school did this. You can actually sound like you're the newsreader of the whole area, and all you did was press the button, newsletter, local council, what's happening in our area, right? You can go on and make, like another thing that you can be doing on content creation is think, write out, what are the top 30 questions you've been asked in your real estate career by buyers and sellers? Then what you do is just say, Tom Panos here, one of the questions I'm asked all the time is, should they sell now or wait for rates to drop a further few times? Here is my view. So all you do is you create content on exactly the questions you're asked all the time. Then what you do is at the end of the video, you just put a red banner, which is the sticker on your video that says, sell now or wait for rates to drop. You can just have all these videos that are just Q&As there, right? So you should be posting that. You should also be posting, and this is very important, with content creation, and you'll notice that the thing that makes my market rap, like Teslin said to me the other day, he goes, how do you get so many views and you don't spend a single cent? And I said, Josh, it's very simple. I don't get on my market wrap on a Saturday afternoon and say, hi, I did 10 open for inspections. I had 7 groups through, blah, blah, blah. I don't do that. I always say something that I know is going to force someone to comment straight away, because the way algorithms work online is you say something, it's here. It sits here for a few moments. And what the algorithm is looking is, does anyone care? Right? Does anyone care? Right? So if they see nobody cares, you know what they do? Fuck it. Don't worry about it. Don't show anyone. It's going to give them the shits. So you get no views. The minute you put something on, like I do, like I did on Saturday. So Peter Dutton says he's going to give $50,000 to first home buyers if he gets in. Is that going to help them, or is that just going to push the prices up more and help owners of real estate? Bang, everyone's fucking commenting. So what happens is the algorithm is sitting there and thinking, yes, this is good. People care about it. And what they do is like a slingshot, doof, lets it go up into the air. So you've got to keep making sure SLC, share, like, comments in your content. And you've got to make sure you've got a hook in the first second. If you notice, most people on content that are really good, they've got a hook in the first second. They don't say, oh, hi, it's Tom Panos here. I want to tell you about a property that recently got bought by a very famous person. Her name is Oprah Winfrey. Obviously, many of you would know her. She recently bought a property. Now, a great digital marketer would say, this is what Oprah Winfrey doesn't want you to know about what she just bought. And people are thinking, fuck, what is it, right? So you've got to get intelligent and understand that if we're in the game of business, we're in the game of show business. And I've got to say, you've got to, now that I've told you about what ChatGPT is doing on content creation, it essentially means everyone has to go absolutely nuts and be posting. And you know, the problem is, Manos and Maria, often the nicest people I meet in real estate are the ones that post the least, because they don't want to be a wanker, right? The problem that you have, and I explain a lot of times with girls, I explained it to a girl, she goes, Tom, I know, but it gives me the shits. I look at all these other dickhead guys in my marketplace and they hardly sell anything, right? And they're carrying on and carrying on. And I said, here's the problem. If you don't become your chief marketing officer, no one else will. And I can tell you, there is a smart way to get attention and not be a wanker. You just don't post trophies and ego. You post content and info. That's what it is.
And being consistent, which brings me to, has anyone, and I'll ask you one last question from myself, but anyone from the team would like to ask Tom, obviously, anything in particular from the presentation? Anyone have a question?
Just unmute. You don't have to put it in the message.
No, just unmute.
Yeah.
Go for it. I do have one question.
What is it, Manos?
When's the Sunday night rant coming back?
Listen, I'm thinking about doing it, Manos. I'm thinking about doing it. And I'll tell you why I stopped her. So what happened is I started having the third time I had chemo, they made me have it on a Friday. And what happens is the way chemo works is it really hits you hard 24 to 48 hours later. It doesn't actually hit you that hard when you're in chemo because it's doing the work. It's only when it kills the cells, and that takes a day or two, that's when you start getting sick. And that used to happen on a Sunday. So on a Sunday, I was always nauseous and vomiting. So I said to Susan, I'm going to stop. But that was the only reason. And what it was is I got into there's Madeline right now walking out. I was going to call her in to say hi, but she's walking. Anyway, so I want to do it because Susan's on my back, and she's on my back because when that was going on, it just helped her life with getting all this content that I was doing. So I am thinking of starting it again.
Who would love to see the Sunday night rant come back?
Oh, listen, I loved it, but I'm not going to swear anymore because now I've got all these. I've got a few companies, REA and Campaign Agent and Wingman and News Corp and all Agent Box, all them that they sponsor me. They don't like me using, bad language,
Understandable.
So one guy said to me once, he goes, we'd love to do a deal with you, but you talk in a way. And I said, well, I swear. And he goes, yeah. I go, listen, not that I don't know any other language, but I said, tell me, what are you offering? I said, because I can not swear at the right price,
Arthur, over to you. Last one over to Arthur.
Hey, Tommy,
just on that note, Tom, just to let you know, I did throw in ChatGTP, which Australian real estate coach curses the most, and you were right up there, Tom. So that's great. Well done.
Are you serious? Did you do it?
Yes, I actually. Do you want me to put it in the chat box?
No, you've told me now. I believe you.
Okay, because I actually copied and pasted it. The answer. I'll send it later.
You know what I did the other night? I actually Googled which is the most right religion.
Oh,
that's a weird thing to do. They've gone in and they've analyzed every religion, right? I'm not going to answer that question. You guys still.
David, David Dwyer, did you want to ask a question before?
I was only saying if he was coming to Crete next year.
Yes, 2026 team. June the 9th, but it's actually 5 days, Live It Up conference. So Tom, will you be coming?
Oh, I mean, so I'm not joking. Crete was my highlight of all of last year. My number one thing was the time I spent with Manos and Maria at their town, their property in Crete. It was I was there for about a week?
Yeah, 1 week, and yeah.
It was this week, and like I still go onto YouTube at nighttime and I put in Crete and I look at all the places there. So is that where you're doing it next year?
Yeah. So next year, so Live It Up conference, and it's under the Black Salt banner. Now will be in Crete, and we're doing it every second year. So 2008, 28 will be the next one, but 2026 June of next year.
Anything to give me a tax deduction to be in Crete is a no-brainer, mate.
Yeah, I love it.
And we would love to have you back. And I can also help you buy if you want, Tom.
Yes, listen, you should. Hey guys, girls, Manos's property that he's got in Crete. If you can just picture it, it's like. I don't know what your Wi-Fi is like there, but I would just sit there and look out there and just work. That's all I would do. I'd just sit there. It's the most beautiful place. And it's actually like the weirdest thing is I'm not my parents are not from Crete, but now I do know why Crete is regarded by even Greeks, even all of Greeks think that is the nicest place in all of Greece, right? So it's very special. Anyway,
we're very privileged to be living in the best country in the world and to be able to holiday in one of the best countries in the world as well. We're all very privileged. So yeah, very fortunate. Guys, can we give it up to Tom, please?
So much.
Manos, I feel guilty because I'm sure I saw a few questions. It was Kathy. Hey, Kathy, how are you, sweetie? Any ideas on how to attract another agent to my office, preferably a female? Well, let me just share one slide before I go, and that is the slide on what I think recruitment is. Let me just quickly bring this up. So recruitment.
And another great question from Richard Edmondson. Any hints for ARIC speakers this year?
So as I said to you yesterday, Manos, I mean, I know people associate me with ARIC for lots of reasons, but at around the 5th of January, I said to John McGrath, I said, John, I've got 55 events I need to get done by around middle of March, from around the 7th to 8th of Jan. I've been on over 50 flights already, 50 flights. I said, I just can't have brain calories on this till I finish. So I haven't been focused, but I can tell you an offer went out this morning because John has texted me. And if they get this person is the biggest person that ARIC would ever have had. So yeah. If they accept the offer,
Yeah.
Can I just share that slide and then I'll let you go?
Please.
So with recruitment, to me, Kathy, it's jab, jab, jab. It's basically have 20 people. You just keep staying in contact, follow them on social media, like, comment, make them feel good, then occasionally pop into an open home and see them face to face, nurture them on social media, and then wait for them to have a fight. In addition to that, John McGrath grew his business in the early stages by giving a recruitment fee, not to recruiters, but to his own team to hire people because they talk to other agents. No question about it. People do want to work for an attraction business. External recruiters is an option. Look, I find that it shouldn't be your only strategy, and having targeted social media ads by profession where you can say, I want to hit all people that are doing real estate as a job in social. Can we leave it at that? Because I've got to get going somewhere. Sorry, Richard, I answered that. Okay.
Thank you so much, Tom. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day and we'll catch up very soon.
Thank you, Tom.
To Susan and the family. Awesome. How good was that, team?
He's amazing.
Arthur, what was
He's
your
got an answer for everything.
He has, hasn't he? He's
been doing it for such a long time.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Tom is obviously through the gym and just all the people that he talks to every day, the information, he's got his finger on the pulse, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. Jonathan was running a little bit late. At least I'm not sure if you can see Jonathan on at all.
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've got a couple of very quickly, right? So in regards to, I just want to elaborate on a couple of things that obviously Tom has mentioned, and just to go in for a little bit more of a deep dive, because growing your business in a disruptive landscape is more about preparedness than anything else. And I love this quote from Robert Schuller. Yeah, spectacular achievement is always preceded by unspectacular preparation. Spectacular achievement is always preceded by unspectacular preparation. And I'm really hoping that that was a message that came through loud and clear through Tom's presentation. And I break it down to 5 things, and very fundamental in most parts of people's businesses, whether you are intending on growing a large business, small business, whatever. But understanding your goals and your DNA people first, deep dive market analysis, really get into the granular, which is obviously your goal setting, review your operations and technology stack. And because that's what I break it down when looking at our business. And the goals for me is so important. And always go back to this question. If you made the decision, I'm really hoping everyone makes the decision to be in real estate for the rest of your life. What does your business need to look like? And I often say it, and I want people to take it literally. Make the decision to be in real estate for the rest of your life and get to a point where you have the choice of staying in it or not. Right? But once you make the decision to be in it for the rest of your life, everything falls into place. But get really granular of what your business needs to look like from a profit point of view. Is it $500,000? Is it $1 million? Is it $2 million? Right? And when answering that question, really do a deep dive on yourself, a self-analysis, right? Because, you know, a number is one thing, but connecting the number to your DNA is another thing. And I can go really deep into that, but I'm hoping everyone is really understanding because it's self-belief as well and your self-worth. Daily work, right? So daily work, what does your daily work need to look like? By my daily work, the way we've structured our business, some of it has been very, very planned. Some of it has happened because we've grown, right? So there's never, you know, a formula that's totally linear. Most of the time when you do a linear line, if that's how your business plan and what your goals look like, to get to the end point, it's normally like this. But you're still moving in the right direction. So really daily work in regards to what type of work do you want to be doing? So low value work for me should be like, we've outsourced all that low value work to the rest of our team. We brought the right people around. I had a great business planning session the other day with Adam Saita. It was just, I think Adam may still be on, but it was just a sensational one to get some clarity in regards, and he's building a phenomenal business. He's already put all the right things in place. But what does daily work look like for you? And always go back to this. Pretend you weren't doing anything. Pretend your business was in automation. You were just the owner. And it's this business that's its own living organism and all the moving parts are taken care of. What does it look like? It's really, really important. Then, of course, your lifestyle, because depending on where your life is at any particular stage, you know, when you started real estate and whether you're a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, or, you know, in later years like ourselves, it's different for everyone. Someone at 60 will have different energy, different aspirations, different life skills, different goals than someone who's starting at 20. So really understand what type of lifestyle. And then also, there's some people who say, man, I'm going to sacrifice 6-7 days a week for the next 5 years, right? That probably wasn't us. We wanted to make sure that we had certain lifestyle, e.g. holidays in Greece, to obviously along the journey, right? That was really important to us. Some people go, stuff that, only go hard for 5 years and take it easy for the next 20 years. Again, what's the end game? And I know it's not a goal setting session, but everything falls back to this, even from a growing your business in a disruptive landscape. People first, who needs to be on your team and how will they be engaged? Full-time, part-time, casual, outsourced. Really understand there's never a one-size-fits-all, and then focus on them. Treat them like they're a customer. What do they want and why should they join you? Remember, we're in business, we're in sales, and one of the first, those three things that we always look for is motivation, timing, and destination, right? So those three things, motivation, timing, and destination. So we should be asking the same thing of our people. What's their motivation? What's their timing? What's their destination from a career point of view? And when you focus on that, whether they're sales agents or your front of house or your administrator or your bookkeeper, what's their motivation? What's their timing? Get really interested and granular on that. The third one, deep dive market analysis. So few people do this, but do a demographic of the people in the housing in your area. It's so important. you need to know in our workbooks for obviously when doing your business plan, we've got a section there that you could just really get granular. This should be done in half an hour. Like we've got access to all this information, right? So take advantage of it. Market capacity, the law of probability, right? When you understand how many sales, we did the same thing with Adam yesterday or the day before. Adam, 100,000 properties in Cairns, 5% or 10% turnover. So 1 in 10 are turning over. How many agents? Like there's really huge potential, but understanding the market capacity. Competition analysis, and I always say this, don't be fearful of competition. There's an agent for every vendor and a vendor for every agent. So when we're talking about growing your business in a disruptive landscape, there's a lot of fear based on the competition and what they're doing and fee cutting and so forth. But there is a vendor, seriously, for every agent, an agent for every vendor. And I only challenge everyone to think of this. The last time that you lost a listing to a particular agent, were you blown away that they chose this particular agent? Can't believe they chose them, right? Well, that's the way it is. That's the way it goes. And then second, review your operation. Second last one, review operations, service delivery, prospecting plan, brand awareness, deep dive market analysis, as I said, capacity and competition. Your technology stack, this is the last one. And I've noticed that Jonathan has just jumped on. Looking forward to seeing you in a moment, Jonathan, introducing you to the team. Technology stack. Will it make the boat go faster? This was a fantastic comment by Chris Henry at Black Salt. Whatever you do in your business, and more particularly in technology, will it make the boat go faster? Less is often more. And these last two, I really want people to understand. Have a system for research and development. Technology is coming in so fast, and I won't mention names, but there's someone on the call today that's really taken advantage of leaning on the real estate community and have a system for R&D, and that is go to your real estate community first and ask, hey, I want to use this product. What do you think? I want to use this product. I'm thinking about dumping this system and going over to this. What do you think? It saves you so much time. Lean on your real estate community. The Black Salt real estate community is one community. Obviously, our members at Agents Agency is another community. Our system for R&D for technology, like we have full-time person just doing research and development, because we've been bombarded almost on a weekly basis for new technology. And we do it for more of a reason to protect our team and their time, rather than just go out to all our team members, because that's not productive. That's not that certainly is not productive or a cost-effective way of researching and development. Most people could be in research and development. This is the new challenge in real estate of technology. Remember, in a few years back, Maria, you'll relate to this one, Arthur, as well, where agents were so obsessed of the look and feel or the look and the shape of their DL cards, and they'd spend a whole day perfecting the perfect DL drop and the perfect words and so forth. Well, this now replaces that. Does that make sense? So really be mindful of that. And good timing with that, guys. Let's move over to our last speaker for today. Any questions on that before I introduce Jonathan? No, all good? Okay. Well, he as well. This young man doesn't need an introduction. He's a legend in his own right at the young age. Have you hit 28 yet? Are you 28 yet?
Yeah, I'm 20. I'm turning 29 in 2 weeks.
Oh, well done, buddy. Well done. I'll remember that, because I know you're just a little bit older than our youngest. So
Yeah,
I'll always remember your age point. A man who doesn't really need introduction, Jonathan Bell, Wingman and Housemark Group. This young individual we first met a year ago. For those people who haven't been to the Black Salt conferences, We met during the Australian Open where Jonathan reached out to connect, heard about what we were doing in the real estate space. And one thing that we always talk about with everyone, guys, is obviously networking and so forth. And Jonathan is an absolute champion. Not sure who told you to reach out to us, actually, Jonathan. I should have.
Like 100 different people.
Oh, good on you, buddy. That was a loaded question. Thank you. And he was such a ball of energy, wasn't he, Arthur? And Maria, when we first met. And I said, you know, you could tell straight away the energy that he creates. And that's something that Tom started with this session, Chief Energy Officer. And I'm not sure if you're CEO in your title of your businesses, Jonathan, but I know you're the founder of all your businesses and so forth. So Chief Energy Officer certainly obviously describes what you've done. And I'd love, obviously, on this topic of, you know, growing your business in a disruptive landscape, hand it over to Jonathan. I might stop sharing the slides so we can have a better view of Jonathan. So can we all welcome Jonathan Bell?
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for the opportunity. I'm in WA right now. It's beautiful here. So it's first time here and enjoying it. Have you been here before, Manos?
To
WA?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got about 7 offices there, and we're there.
Wow.
Yeah, love it. So it's your first time.
Yeah, nice.
There, okay?
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really
beautiful weather.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, probably echoing what you said before, Manos, around the disruptive environment, how many prop techs are out there now and how much there's so much noise. And I think that the one thing we've probably taken and thought about is that a lot of those prop techs are there to enhance the business, but probably what I've noticed is people think that they're going to help the business grow, or they're going to be the prop tech that actually supports their business go to the next level. And I think that really they're there to support, but they're not actually going to overtake the relationships. And I think that the one thing we're really focusing on is the more prop tech comes out, the more relationships become more important because people aren't focusing on them enough. So we're actually putting even more emphasis on the relationships, because I think that's what's going to separate the good businesses to the great businesses. And that's what ultimately, like, one thing we've learned is a lot of our landlords, they just want to speak to someone. Like, they genuinely, no matter what you provide them, no matter how much resources you give them, they genuinely just prefer a phone call. So very much what we're trying to focus on is using the prop techs and all the disruptive support that's out there to free up our staff to purely focus on the relationships. So it's a support mechanism. It's not a mechanism to reduce the amount of work.
Love it, Jonathan. And if you just want to share for those people who may not have, and I didn't sort of mention your numbers, just a brief, 60-second of your growth path over the last 5 years, 6 years.
Yes, absolutely. So real estate business based in Brisbane. We've expanded to the Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast over the last 18 months. We've got we're just about to crack the 3,000 managements now, and all have grown organically. So 6 years in, we're on 115 managements so far in February, which is our record, and we're aiming to get to 150 a month on month this year. So that's our current trajectory at the moment. We lose 20 to 25 a month on average from sales, people moving back in, and everyone's starting a property management business regularly. So we lose managements to a cousin who starts a property management business the landlords want to support. So we're losing about 10% a year. So we're growing by about 80 net managements a month.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I mean, that deserves a round of applause, just that, guys. And of course, more importantly, it has been organically grown. And going back to what you mentioned earlier, technology and the systems you put in place are there to obviously free up your frontline people to be the communicators. What systems are you using? And I know it's going to be a bit of a plug for Wingman as well. And also I want to talk about the Profit Summit that's on for next week. But what are the big things? What were the 3 big things that you implemented in your business that actually freed up your property managers and your key frontline personnel to be able to deliver that one-on-one service? And do you attribute that to your massive growth? Because I don't think anyone in Australia has done this organic growth as quickly as you. Correct me if I'm wrong. You probably know better.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's been I think there was another one in Brisbane that sold to Little Real Estate. I forget the name, years ago, that grew really fast. But yeah, we're
Rental Express.
Rental Express, yeah.
Yeah, good on Mr. Chris Rolls. Yeah, we know Chris exceptionally well. He did some acquisitions though too.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for us, we're actually less is more. So we're actually we would rather use less systems and utilize them 100% than have 15 systems and actually only use 10% of them. So we very much are focused on just, and it also, because we're growing so fast, if you've got 15 different systems and you're bringing on staff, it takes the staff 12 months to understand the systems. And then, you've always got new staff growing. So we understand that there's no one system that's perfect, but we would rather use less systems and use them really, really well. And then our whole philosophy with Wingman, which is my other business that supports business sales and property management businesses through using offshore, is every one of our senior property managers has an executive assistant in the Philippines who then does their staff's entries. Does all of the lease renewals, the arrears, follows up the tenants, does all of the back end admin, which is probably 90% of most people's property management jobs. So they can focus on the 10% that actually matters. We've got a KPI in our business, and that's 15 landlord calls a day. So the number one KPI that our senior property managers have is 15 landlords every single day they need to speak to. But in about 18 months ago, we lost quite a few landlords from service, and it really stung because I brought a lot of those landlords on. So one day I walked in, I was like, right, everyone, you got to speak to 15 landlords every day. That's the number one thing. That's all we're focusing on. But we did that for 1 month, and that month we didn't lose one management from service. It was fascinating. We went from losing the most amount we've ever lost to zero, purely by 15 landlord calls every day. And those 15, if you calculate 15 landlords, that's 75 landlords a week. That's 150 a fortnight. That's 300 a month, which means you're speaking to every single landlord every month. And I think that if you literally just did that, even if you had the worst processes in the world, you're in the top 10% of real estate agencies. So that's what that's very much our whole philosophy, is using offshore to do all the back end admin, to free up all your property managers or all your relationship managers or salespeople should be doing, is speaking to their clients and using your prop tech to be able to create the infrastructure and your offshore to do the activities. And we just try and really simplify it.
Yeah, I don't think you can get any simpler a team than having that one simple KPI of 15 phone calls to your landlords. And those are directors right now who have got obviously property management portfolios. That is a key thing that you need to start in, and you don't need tech to tell you just do it. That's what we're doing as of today. Did you start them? So was it 15 always, or was it 5, then 10, then you worked out once you were able to free up the property managers' time? Because I think that's the biggest challenge, isn't it, for property managers, freeing up their time from doing that stuff that you've obviously outsourced to your executive assistants, remote executive assistant, to free up their time to be able to make those 15 phone calls.
We worked backwards. So we said, right, guys, we're doing 15 calls a day. That's a non-negotiable. And then I said, what do you need us to do for you to do the 15 calls? So we actually we get everyone to buy into it. So then all the seniors said, oh, we're spending all our time doing these things. So then we said, okay, well, let's delegate them. So in our business, a big pain point was the tenants calling our property managers. So we found 2 people in the Philippines, one guy called Richard, who used to sell penny stocks on Wall Street, and he's got an American accent. He takes all our tenant calls. So we said, right, we'll take all the tenant calls, but in return, you need to call your 15 landlords. So we've got a gatekeeper in the Philippines who answers all tenant calls, which freed up our property managers a lot. So that it's actually getting the buy-in from the team to actually want to make the calls. So it's like a give and take. Okay, if you do the 15 calls, this is what we'll do for you, and let's be in agreement on that, because that, to me, that is a non-negotiable in our business. And if you can't make 15 calls a day as a property manager, what are you spending your time doing? And it's probably not what you should be doing. Same with our BDMs. Our BDMs have a KPI of 30 managements each a month. All right, you're doing 30 managements a month. How are you going to do it? We're going to work backwards from the 30 managements a month. And what do you need us to do as a business to actually support you do the 30 and not come to us on the 25th of the month and say, I couldn't do 30 because I was too busy.
Yeah. And how many of your BDMs are achieving that target? Are they short? Are they over? What would the average be?
Yeah, we're 30 to 35 a month. It's a big goal. So they're not going below 30, but we have one BDM who cracked 40 this month.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. And is there any tech that you're using in particular for BDM work at all, or your other processes? Is there any piece of tech that you're saying, hey, this has been amazing?
No, we're using all the standards, most of the standard ones in the industry. Like nothing. When people come, we do roadshows through our business, and people are welcome to come through and see how we run our PM business. Everyone says it's really simple. Like it's actually we've tried to really simplify it. So there's nothing that we use that's different to what anyone else here would be using. I don't think. We just try and use it well. Like with our property management software we use every bit of it. We use the task, we use the checklist, we use the trust accounting system. We try and have everything in there as one source of truth. So I think the one source of truth is really important. One thing we did is we have a centralized inbox. So every single email that goes into our business, landlord or tenant, all goes into the same spot. So it means that it means that number one, your offshore can reply to it and it's not too separated. And then number two, it means that you can actually track what's going out and what's going in, who's being replied to, who's not being replied to. So I think that's probably one big thing we've done is a full centralized inbox. And then it means that if someone leaves, it's not like you have to be digging through all of their emails to find stuff, where they approved a $3,000 maintenance bill and the landlord doesn't want to pay it.
Yeah, I love that. And what tech? So are you on Microsoft or Google, or I'll get a little bit granular? Which platform are you in?
We're Microsoft, but only because that's what we started with.
Yeah.
There's no strategy behind that.
Yeah, I was more curious because I always have a debate. I wish my team, IT, anyone I speak to, always say Google. Always, it's 8 out of 10 people will say Google. But I'm a Microsoft lover. We're on Google, but that's just. We started on Google. So anyway.
Yeah, right.
There's no point in changing. There's no point in changing. But I think the big fundamental that you're sharing, Jonathan, is we've all got access to the same ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
We've got all access to the same information. We've got all access to the same dialogue that everyone's using. We've all got access to Tom Panos. That's a big tick. So like what's our blockages in our business, because a lot of people do look for the shiny new toy and say, hey, what is it? But for me, when I obviously met yourself, Jonathan, it was energy, chief energy officer. It's energy. And it's a token, obviously, to your age as well and so forth. But how do you keep energized? Because you've got how many hundred, you've got a few hundred people, like there's more, 900, I think you said to me the other day. How do you keep your energy up? And look, let's be real. I'm sure you cop the same crap as any business owner cops when a business is that size, and personalities and staff and customers and the whole gamut. How do you protect yourself and obviously keep that energy up?
I try and do what I'm really good at, and I try and make sure I don't do things I'm not good at. So if I have to sit and do a detailed, like if I have to go through a really operational issue, I get so drained. Like I'm in the worst mood. If I'm reviewing emails myself or I'm doing things that are really detailed, like it drains me. But if I'm sitting having lunch with you, Manos, talking about strategic things about the industry and where businesses are going, that actually lifts my energy. I could do that all day. So I very much, I try and live by the Richard Branson philosophy, and he says, create a crystal clear vision, find the best people in the world to execute it, and then get out of their way. So I really trust my people. I let them do what they're good at. And I don't try and delve into the detail because I'm not good at it. But vice versa, like the detailed people in my business, if they're having a conversation like this, they'd probably be like drained and not want to do it. They want to they want to create process flows and etc., which is awesome. But I think just finding what you're really good at and doubling down on it, and then recruiting really well for the things you're not good at. And I just because I've got the opportunity that we've grown really well, I literally just get to do what I love every day now, which is strategy and growth. Like I actually enjoy it. I don't feel like I'm working, and I think that and also I try and surround myself with really good people. Try and have some really good mentors, and surround myself with good human beings who have the same ambitions. And I've by doing that, I think that actually lifts your energy.
100%. And we've got questions. I could ask questions all day of Jonathan, right? So have we got any particular
Yeah, we do,
questions?
Manos. I'll just break in. I got a question from Ron. Good morning, Jonathan. How are you?
Hello, how are you?
Not too bad, buddy. Ron's asking, how many landlords are they managing? That's each property manager. And what are they talking about? What's the dialogue? You said 15 calls a day. Obviously, they vary.
Yep.
Could you just give us a rundown?
Yep. So managers get paid. The more properties you manage, the more you get paid. So we have a minimum properties under management per property manager is 250. And if anyone wants the processes and systems behind how we do that, if you've got a PM business, feel free to reach out, and I can put you in touch with the team. But a minimum of 250. We've got one property manager managing 400, and he's getting paid really, really well, but he's managing double the portfolio. So how we structure that is they get an EA in the Philippines. We then support them with the out of office activities, entries, exits, and routines. So all they're doing is landlord communication. And then the PMs are not allowed to call them without a purpose. So they have to find a reason to call them. Hey, Arthur, I'm calling you to let you know that your tenant's re-signed the lease for another 12 months. Congratulations.
Gotcha.
Hey, Manos, really good news. The tradie's gone out today. They've completed the service of the air conditioning unit. They didn't find any other issues. Tenant seems happy. Call me anytime. There has to be a little piece of news. It's a bit awkward otherwise, and some property managers don't want to make those calls, and it's like, hey, how are you? Or it's a bit awkward. And in our marketplace, a lot of our investors are sophisticated investors, so they don't actually want the property manager calling them just for a chat. They're busy, so it depends on your marketplace. So ours are very much, if you're calling someone to say a little thing's done, all that's saying to the landlord is, wow, this person's on it. So that's very much what you have a small purpose, find a purpose, call them and give them an update.
Yeah.
Even if there's no update, hey, just want to let you know the tradie didn't turn up today. I've called them to follow up to get them there tomorrow. Like no update's still an update, and delivering bad news fast. If there's no one to the open homes, our leasing managers have to call them that after the properties that haven't rented. We actually have to call them first. So we call the ones first, because if you deliver bad news fast, the landlord's much more forgiving than if you wait 3 days and say, hey, by the way, no one came through the property. We need to reduce the rent.
Of course.
And all these systems and process and dialogues, do you have it documented? So when you're bringing in new people, so what's your induction process like for a new property manager?
So we have a full 1 month calendar that they have to complete. So from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., from 11 till 1, from 1 to 3, from 3 to 5 for the full month is 100% allocated to them. So that over that month, it's a meeting with me, it's a meeting with Nat South, the CEO, it's a meeting with the property manager, it's watching Loom videos that we've created. It's a full 1 month. So by the end of that month, they're completely inducted. And then in the Philippines, we actually have a 3-month academy. So we train the staff for 3 months on property management and sales before they go into a business. So we try our best to get them trained and inducted. And obviously there's some that don't work as well. But there's where we've tried to create an induction process that they see our way.
I love that. And obviously putting that process in place as a small business owner, right? Getting that time to build those processes, and that's where a lot of the blockages, the obstacles are for business owners. Jonathan, is they sometimes don't have the time to build these processes. What did you do? And look, just be transparent. If you just did 6 months of grind and you're working 10, 15 hours a day, say it's the way it is, because we don't want to sugarcoat the end results. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, so number one is I got a consultant in to build our processes. So Nat South actually came in and I said, Nat, I want you to rebuild. Step one, I want you to rebuild our releasing process. Step two, I want you to rebuild this. And we did one process at a time. So it started. I always like to start at the end goal. The end goal is that we redo all our processes, and then we did one process at a time. And Nat, like I said, I'm not very good at that. But what Nat and I did is I gave her a brief. I said, I want our whole reletting process done. These are the key milestones that I want to make sure that the landlord gets a call. Everything else I want offshored. So she actually came in and built it. But I had to give her that vision and that brief. Probably similar to if you're getting a property video done. You can't just tell your videographer to turn up and do the video. You've got to give them a really good brief. Hey, I want the video to look like this. I want the vibe to look like this. So brief, I tried to use resources around me, but give them really solid briefing on what I'm looking for.
And in obviously conveying, and I get a little bit granular. I've mentioned the word granular a few times in this presentation, but is it on just a Word document checklist? Is it on a particular platform, a training platform? It's paper.
Yeah, we'd map it out on a piece of paper. Then Nat would put it in a Mira board, like a full, like exactly what we want it to look like, and then we'd build it into the software.
Love it.
And we'd draft it. Nat would just sit in our office for 5 hours drafting templated emails.
Yeah, love it.
And not perfect.
Everyone's just got to go through that training program to learn. This is what we say when and of course, and do you have team meetings? Like one of the things that Tom mentioned earlier on was how critical it was to have the daily huddles, how critical it was to have weekly meetings. Do you have any structure around that?
Yes, and yes, definitely. And what we do is, so every single one of our seniors has to have a directional meeting, we call them, in the morning, a 15-minute directional meeting with their EBU. So offshore, onshore. So offshore, you have to have 15-minute every morning. This is what I need from you. What's working, what's not working? What are we going to accomplish by 5 p.m. today? So we do that every morning. And then every single team meeting we do has to start with growth. You're not allowed to talk about operational things until you've done 15 minutes of growth. So what have we done to grow the business? What have we done to grow our brand? What have we done to grow our systems and our processes? So it's a growth starting point. It's so easy to start a meeting with where's the missing key? where's the, why is this, this landlord's really upset? All the operational things. So we very much tried to focus on growth first and then move to operations, which is hard because it's such a noisy industry.
Yeah, love it. A couple of questions have come through. One question was, do you use Property Me? Obviously from a tech platform, I believe you do. Yep. And the next question, this is a great question from an agent. I think I know which Ron it is. So a sales agent starting his own business. Would you hire a property manager straight away? And how do you get new landlords? Is your property manager getting business for you? So what would you recommend for someone starting from scratch? So you started from scratch from your 1-bedroom apartment. So correct me if I'm wrong. And you're obviously a sales agent, but then you looked at the property management side of a business and you said, no one's really looking after that really, really well. I think I can do a great job. And you ran out. And I think I need to share this story, guys, because I share this all the time because people make a lot of excuses. I need a website. I need this. I need that. When did you get your business card? When did you get your business logo? And how big was your rep roll before you actually got what everyone thinks I need to have to start with?
100 managements. I was working from home till I had 300 managements. I had tenants turning up to my house at 300 managements. I literally one of my tenants got upset with me and turned up to my house, and I was like, all right, I need an office.
Guys, it's such an invaluable. Sometimes we get paralyzed by the detail, thinking that we need everything in place. And the only one who really cares is ourselves, not the client. Always got to think of the client. At the end of the day, the client knows you obviously had a realestate.com subscription and put it on realestate.com and domain and all that. Yeah. So you did all the basics and so forth, but you didn't let not having a classic line from Maria's favorite from Richard Branson. Jump out of the plane and build a parachute on the way down, which is what you've done. But if you could, what would you recommend to someone starting brand new?
I used to say yes, but I probably matured a little bit, and it probably depends on where you're at in your career and what you're looking to achieve. Like I was 23 with nothing to lose, so for me it was easy because and I was so ignorant that I was too ignorant in a good way that I was just out there doing it. But like someone with a family can't run their business from home, or if you're a sales agent and you're busy selling, you can't. If you stop spending time selling and doing PM, you're going to distract yourself. So it's probably just, and also some people are obsessed with building a rent roll, but sometimes it's like, well, maybe you're an amazing sales person and just double down on sales and then buy investment properties and build your wealth that way. It's like achieve out of your life and your business. Because I used to say, my old answer was, yeah, do it, go for it. But I probably learned that it depends on what stage of life you're at and what you're looking to achieve. And there's no one size fits all. It's just impossible. So for me, if you're 23 and you've got nothing else to do and you're an ex-tennis player, go for it. But if you've got other ambitions, then probably not possible.
Yeah, I love that answer, Jonathan, and it's something that we wholeheartedly believe in. There's never a one size fits all. There's never the perfect model. There's only your perfect model. And depends on your depends on your finances. If you've got my recommendation is if you've got a shitload of cash and a shitload of backup, hire a property manager. If you don't have that backup, don't start property management. Focus on your sales. Get that 100,000 cash in your bank. Hire a property manager and then go. And buying a rent roll, securing a rent roll, or growing it organically. Again, there's never a one size fits all. I mean, we were fortunate when we bought our first rent roll. It was an opportunity too good to be missed. The multiple was ridiculously low. It was vendor terms, and it ticked all the boxes. Now, if I can say that to everyone to go out there, but I can almost guarantee you it's not likely to have another rent roll like that in the marketplace. We were just very fortunate, but we were prepared. Remember how I said in the beginning of the session, team, you've got to be prepared. The more preparation you have, the more you identify in what you want, the better you're going to be. Any other team? Well, I'm looking at the time, and it's been an invaluable session. We're coming up to 1:30. Questions, even from yourself, Arthur. Any questions people would like to ask? And I just want to share, obviously, the Wingman Profit Summit for next week as well. I might just share my screen while we're at it. But
absolutely, please do that. I don't have anything new that's come through. But no, I really appreciate your time today, Jonathan. It's always invaluable. Talk to us about, Manos, the Profit Summit. Let's hear about that.
Yeah. Jonathan, over to you.
Yeah, so we're putting on an event next week on Thursday. It was like in December last year, we were like, let's run a conference in Sydney. We probably didn't realize how big it was going to be, but we've sold,
Black Salt motivated you. Tell me Black Salt motivated you to go there.
Yeah, literally 100%. That conference is amazing. So hopefully we can do a good job similar to that one. But so basically it's all about profit, and it's for business leaders. It's all very much around growth and creating profitability in your business and driving strategy. So we've sold 466 tickets. I think we're at. I think we've got about 20. I think we want to get to 500, and then it's sold out. So it'll be a really fun day. There'll be some drinks after. We're gonna get Manos. We're gonna throw Manos in the mix somehow. So it'll.
I love your work.
It'll be a fun day.
Attending, and of course, our business leaders and directors. This will be a great one. You've got the likes of John McGrath. You've got Phil Harris. You've got Gavin Rubenstein. Obviously, Tom, yourselves. A whole bunch of. Is it Anthony Bell as well? You've got. Is it one of the Bells? Coming on, but you've got a whole bunch in the lineup.
It's all yeah. So Gab's talking about personal branding. Yeah, no, that'll be good. Gab's talking about personal branding. Phil's about a big sales team. Tom's doing about how he built McGrath. So it'll be a wide range of all business metrics, and it'll be good. If anyone wants to come, I think it's sold out online. So if you did want to come, maybe just shoot through an email to the events email, and we can. There are some tickets left.
an after event as well. At the new Crown Towers in Barangaroo, is that right? Yeah, love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, team. Can we give it up for
Thank
for
you, Jonathan.
Thank
Good
you
to
so
see
much,
you.
Jonathan.
Thanks,
As I've said,
guys.
I've
Great
always
to see you guys. See you
loved
next
the
week.
energy, and yeah, looking forward to catching up with you next week. And
Let's do it. Sounds good. Thanks
Legend.
so much for the opportunity. See you guys.
done. Just
Thank you.
last couple of just announcements. Obviously, Black Salt team, the portal's always been uploaded. Make sure you get access to the workbooks. I wanted to make mention of these workbooks. I've been having a couple of one-on-ones with a number of agents, and they're not aware that we do have the business plan Excel workbook, or the 28-day system plan, and the 2025 yearly prospecting schedule that you can download from the portals. Right, so please go into the portal, your members log in and get access to that, as you can with all the other workbooks as well, which is invaluable. Small announcement, the Black Salt AI coach is launching soon, so we're just putting the final touches. I know some people have got access to it early from an email blast a couple of weeks ago, but that's just not quite ready. So all the content is obviously just been enhanced and just going through a few testing. And team, the first 30 to 60 days, there will be a bit of testing happening with it, but we're super excited because you'll be able to do
Feedback would be great as well. So if you ask it for something and then it gives you that, but also something else, or it gives you something totally different, it'll be nice if we get that feedback or positive feedback as well. But it's been so much fun. Manos and I sit there on a Friday night, Saturday night, we've got nothing better to do. And we just ask it questions, and it's been really good. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And next week, really super excited for next week's 6th of March training session. Obviously, myself and Maria won't be in attendance, but it's going to be hosted by Julie Ormston and, of course, guests Carol Saville and Aisha Coe. This one's a big one, team. I've seen the content that they're producing and sharing what it takes to have a referral network, and absolutely invaluable insights, and super excited for that one, and obviously watching the recording thereafter. So please lock it into your diary.
I might disappear from the conference, Manos, because this is all my favorite women online. I might just go and find a quiet room somewhere and log in from my phone.
Yeah. Well, I know. And again, team, please look up the annual membership. The next session is breaking the $1 million barrier. What is it's going to take? We've got Tom Panos back for May, Thursday the 1st, for needle moving dialogue. This will be unmissable. And again, this is just going to further enhance the AI capability of AI Coach, because what we want is for you to be able to have those role plays on the fly. Get your vendor reports, get your vendor. I mean, I know a number of our team have been using AI incredibly well, where they're getting deals together where they weren't able to beforehand. Getting emails drawn up, having the conversation, sending them out to vendor and to purchasers, and then a couple of hours later, deals together. And you heard Tom when he shared about Diego in New Zealand, and the reception that they've had from their vendor reports using AI. So please be aware of it. And of course, all the other sessions that we've got for the rest of the year. So the next one for us is May. Volume is vanity and profit is sanity. End of financial year must-dos. So looking forward to presenting that one as well. All right, team. Be good. Enjoy your days, the rest of the day, and any other last questions at all, or those people might want to stay back? No, all good. I hope you found the session of value. Yep, good. Do I get thumbs up? No?
Yes, it was fantastic, honey.
Love it.
It's good to see everyone. We hit 70 people today, so that was fantastic. It was really good.
Really good. Well done.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Good
you
to
so
see
much.
everybody.
Be good. And for those people attending next week's Profit Summit, look forward to seeing you there.
Amazing. Good to see you, Kathy, as well. Everyone.
Be good, everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.